Greetings, welcome back. We have the full team here. Welcome back to episode 83 of Death, Taxes, and Sports. I'm with my esteemed panel here with Ben Holloway, who's all of a sudden a Green Bay Packers fan, and he's a traitor to his own kind. Yes, I said it. And we have Gary Legend, Lakers, there we go, representing. And we also have Marissa Tigney. How are you feeling, Marissa?
Listen, let me just take a few minutes of the time and shout out to all the dedicated, hardworking Detroit Pistons fans who saw ultimate robbery happen in broad daylight on national television, Central Eastern Standard Time, Pacific Time, whatever time zone you're in. We were robbed with a capital R in the NBA draft lottery. How in the world we fell to number 5, and 5 is my favorite number, don't get me wrong, but in the justification of us needing some kind of help to get us out of the teens every year of wins and embarrassing losses, we needed some kind of help, and we thought that Big Ben Wallace was going to bring us some kind of luck. Even he was shook by the rigodom of the National Basketball Association. Good luck to you, San Antonio. Glad that you got everything that you wanted handed to you on a platter. Wembley is going to definitely be your number 1 pick, but pure robbery for the city of Detroit.
David Robinson, Tim Duncan.
Yep.
Now Wembanyama. 3 times.
I think it's rigged. It's rigged. I'm sorry. I think it's rigged.
Forever. We got robbed. We were not prepared, but we got to do justice and see who is going to be good, and hopefully we pick a need in at number 5. But I'm salty with extra salt. Throw all the Morton seasoning onto it with a side dash of Lowry seasoning and some Frank's Red Hot. I'm pissed. I'm back. I'm here. But I'm grateful to be here. Hello.
I mean,
all right.
Like it's a lot to for me, it's a lot to take in because I was kind of rooting for Houston a little bit as well because I think Houston would have been a good landing spot. But Detroit, I mean, that one was kind of like San Antonio, a little bit rigged. They, I feel like it's rigged because we know that the NBA is trying to keep. They add the max contracts for these smaller market teams to stay relevant. We know that. Like San Antonio is a perennial champion winner, and they've been terrible these last couple seasons, so I'm not surprised that they did that.
Greg Popovich is going to coach for another 20 years as a result.
Yeah, he'll never
know what's going to happen. I love Pop, don't get me wrong, but like you've just given him new life.
I mean, come on. How can you not? Like over under, like when we have like Death, Taxes, and Sports episode 1200 in like the year 2035, like he's still going to be coaching. He's still going to be.
Oh, yeah.
But anywho, we could talk more about that. We could talk about this all day. We should definitely do more like an NBA draft special once when that comes up. But Ben, how are you doing? How was your time away?
Yeah, it was a nice trip down to Florida, nice and relaxing. Okay. Spent a lot of time by the pool, which was nice.
Okay, awesome.
So, yeah, excited to be back though. We got lots of basketball to talk.
Yeah, let's get right to it. But before we get to basketball, I do have to give a shout out to my soccer team, FC Barcelona. They won La Liga. It's the first time since 2019. Our financial struggles a little bit challenging. We don't really talk about too much soccer, but I got to represent my squad that I've been a fan of literally since the dawn of time. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get to this. So, Ben, all of us were talking about these West matchups, and with Phoenix, there's so many ways to go with this, guys, because I'm like, when you have a chance to trade for Kevin Durant, you do it, but you also have to understand that you're going to give up a lot, and that if you're going to do it, you're going to be giving up your future. So just for the viewers, they gave up Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, four first-round draft picks and a 2028 first-round swap in return for Kevin Durant. Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, who were vital to their run these last 2 seasons, young and up-and-coming players. And I'm going to say they lost because of their lack of depth. That simple, the end. Any other thoughts?
Agreed.
I'm also willing to hold credence to the fact that the Chris Paul postseason injury strikes again. Like, it's just, you think you're a championship team, then that injury happens and you're not. see Houston, see the Clippers. But yeah, I'm. There's also a part of me that goes, they really chose DeAndre Ayton over Monty Williams, and that part's a little frustrating to me because DeAndre Ayton's game, like, he's talented, but he's worn out his welcome as far as I'm concerned, and really, like, when you're the number one, like, there's just been a string of like number one picks that have just been fed, and hopefully Victor will be able to kind of break that trend. But the last couple have been a little so. It hasn't been anybody that's truly transcended or knocked it out the park. And this is just kind of another example of that. Like, DeAndre Ayton was highly touted, and he shrunk in the playoffs, not once but twice now. And instead, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I'm just saying, just real quick, I was not even convinced of him as a number one overall pick, even coming out of Arizona, because the game that they got eliminated against, he wasn't even a dominant force. Like, he wasn't dominant at Arizona. He was a very, very, very good player, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that he's never lacked the true hustle. Even when he played at the Pingos All-American camp several years ago, he didn't have that type of hustle. So I'm not surprised by this. And they maybe I'm a little bit passionate about this because I spent a lot of time in Phoenix. So I feel like they're kind of like, out of respect for my wife, she's a diehard Phoenix Suns fan, so she complains about them a lot. But I'm just saying, like, I'm kind of passionate about this because I'm just like, their depth, their issues, and then they just unexcitingly, that's not even a word, but I'm just going to say it, sign into a contract extension, and now they have no draft assets, and they're going to find themselves in the same position. But go ahead, Gary, and I'll give it to Marissa, then Ben.
No, I was just going to say, credit to Denver. They did exactly what they needed to do. Jokic is special, but we already knew that. And really, this is kind of the matchup that we all want. I know Phoenix and LA was, another matchup that was out there. Phoenix and Golden State was another matchup that people wanted to see. But I think, this will be an intriguing series. And as much as you have, Jokic, you have Murray, you have Michael Porter Jr. on that side, Aaron Gordon on that side, like, they're going to present a hell of a matchup and a hell of a counter to whatever LeBron and AD are going to produce. But I'm kind of jumping ahead there.
Yeah, and I know that we're going to talk a little bit about like what's going to be next, but next for the Suns. But Marissa, we in a lot of our times we always talk about depth and how depth is very, very, very important. And you always make some very, very, very good, X's and O's, and I'll leave that to you. But to me, you also have to remember it's also the continuity. You think about, you trade for Kevin Durant in February 9th, and he slipped going for a layup in the pregame warm-up, then missed another 10 to 13, then missed another 8 games. So that also messed up their continuity. But like before the show, Ben and I were talking about, like, in game 4, they scored 121 points. And between the both of them, either assists through points, they counted through 95% of the all total offensive production for Marissa.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And I agree with everything that Gary's saying. My concern is what they're going to do in the offseason. Now you're looking for a head coach. You're doing desperate things to try to get rid of Chris Paul, which who in the world is going to invest into a 38-year-old person that their body consistently breaks down? We talked a little bit about this last week and how they're going to try to shop him to another team. Number one, Chris Paul is not going to want to be that person that rides the bench ever. We already know that. He believes he has, another year or two of basketball left in him. He really wants to have that hardware. He really wants that ring. And his last and final stop is going to be Phoenix. No one else is going to invest in his time and talents. Like I said to you gentlemen, we saw his body break down for the past several postseasons, several years before our eyes. And Phoenix has to figure out what they're going to do with the talent that they have to even get a sniff of the postseason, depending on who they get, bring it, whoever they invest on to be head coach. I agree with you 100%, Jeff, when you talked about DeAndre Ayton and, the times that he was there and he was ghost. He just basically, it was a combination of woe is me and not my fault. Mixed in between that, there was a lot of news speculation that he is the person that got Monty Williams dismissed from his head coaching position. And at times when I was looking back at some of these games and looking at the games where he was a non-factor and being basically a pouty baby in certain games of, how frustrated he was in some of these games, I can see that being an issue, that maybe, or most of it being an issue of how Monty Williams, unfortunately, is no longer the head coach of the Suns.
Yeah, Ben, all great points, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, the Suns, Monty Williams, it is unfortunately the nature of the business. We're going to dive deep into Doc because we have to, and I'll save everything there because I got plenty of numbers there besides the eye test. But it's a win and loss business. The same for players, the same for coaches. And when you get dominated 2 years in a row at home in a closeout game, I'm sorry, I don't care if you went 72-10 the last 2 years. You cannot have your season end like that back to back. It just can't happen. And I know the players bear a lot of responsibility. We're not here calling for coaches' jobs. We're not, that's not what we're about. But we are recognizing if players don't perform, they don't get a contract. If coaches don't win, there's consequences. It's a win and loss business. That's what it is.
It's business.
And if you get that embarrassed 2 years in a row and a new owner who didn't pick you in the first place because it's a brand new owner,
right?
That's,
Mr. Flop.
He's getting Monty Williams is a great coach. He's going to get another job. Just like Budenholzer and Rivers, I guess, but we'll go there later. But a lot of good coaches have left, and it doesn't have to do necessarily with their coaching abilities. Like Phil Jackson went to several different teams. Pat Riley was on several different teams. Like coaches move. So Nick Nurse, Budenholzer, Monty Williams, who's to say they can't win a ring with another team? Could happen. Yeah, they're all good coaches. They're gonna get jobs if they want them.
Yeah.
And Ben, and you make a very good point, and then we'll transition to you, Gary, and then Marissa on the Lakers, is that sometimes coaches just wear out their welcome, right? Like that's just in sports, right? I mean, I know this isn't football. We're not talking about football. You think about Harbaugh, for instance, right? The man is a great coach, but he just wore out his welcome. Nick Nurse wore out his welcome. Budenholzer. But just real quick, how many good coaches are free now? I think this is like the first time we got some really good quality coaches.
I was getting ready to say, I'm like, when you look at it, like, I was just looking it up. The only two teams that had a bad record that replaced their coach are Houston and eventually Detroit. Like, otherwise, the four teams with the best records over the last couple of years have all gotten rid of their coaches. And then, like, we've never seen this before. You've seen the turnover at the bottom, but at the top is unprecedented. So this is going to be, I think, this will be as big as free agency is, as player free agency is. It's the coaching search, and seeing where all these, where the chairs, who's going to land all these different chairs when it's all said and done.
I think too. I was gonna say at the end of that part, we've never seen, gentlemen, where not only these are good coaches, but these are former coach of the years. These are some of them have won the chip.
Nurse and Budenholzer with titles.
Yeah. So
Williams with finals appearances.
Yeah. So you're looking at these coaches right now that are pretty much like free agency of head coaches, if you will, respectively. And you're just like going, man, their resumes are stacked. These are actually great coaches. The question that I have at the end of it all is how many of them are going to jump into another head coaching job, or they're just going to scale back and take some time off and reflect?
Who would you say, just real quick, before we go to you, Gary, and the Lakers, just real quick, who we say is the prime, who we say, just give me your top three best coaches available real quick, and then we'll go to the Lakers. I'm just curious. Mercer, you go, then Ben, then Gary, and then transition to the Lakers, Gary. Top three best.
Top three best, Budenholzer,
yes.
Monty Williams, and I'm going to give y'all a dark horse. I would say Sam Cassell.
Ooh, okay. I think he may take the Lakers job if Jay Wright doesn't get it, but that's just my thing. Okay. Jay Wright's a sleeper. I'm saying it now. But go ahead.
I would say I'm just gonna go with the teams that basically have either won or came close to winning. I'm gonna stick to Monty Williams, Budenholzer, and Nurse. I actually would have Nurse at 1, and here's why. He kept the Raptors relevant when they basically have Siakam now and not much else. And he made the playoffs, kept them relevant. He has a title, and he's probably the youngest, actually definitely the youngest of the 3.
Okay.
I would go Budenholzer next because there's no denying Giannis is an amazing talent, but I'm sorry, he has to get some credit for the leap that Giannis took, and he won a title. And Monty Williams 3 just because he hasn't won one yet.
Yeah, but I will say though that what he done for the Suns, though, I mean, the Suns were at the bottom, they were like.
No, I know.
There's some extenuating circumstances. They had a 2-0 lead against that 2021 championship team, and someone. But again, we know the circumstances. But I get what you're saying. I totally respect it. I think you have good value. But any other thoughts, Ben? And then we'll go to Gary, and then take it away with the Lakers.
No, Gary, go ahead with your top 3, and then talk about them Lakers.
With the Lakers, sir.
Okay, so I'm going Monty Williams 1. I'm going Mike Budenholzer 2. I like Marissa's input of Sam Cassell. I think he is the next one up that's due to have a coaching run somewhere. I thought he would actually succeed Ty Lue with the Clippers, but be that as it may, I think he's a name that goes up there. And a name that we haven't said in a while that I think he gets a bit of a rep because his teams aren't necessarily the most known for their defense, but they're known for their offense. And that's Mike D'Antoni. Don't listen. There is a love affair with him in the NBA as an offensive guru, and somebody that he made his career with Phoenix in the 7 seconds or less offense.
James Harden's bestie.
Yes. So because of that, he's always going to get an opportunity somewhere. Mike D'Antoni is going to be one of these coaches is going to have one of these vacancies when this is all said and done because the NBA wants him to have a job. That's a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Now let's get just for time's sakes. Let's just do this. Gary, I'm going to say my thoughts on the Lakers because I feel like you and I are going to have the same thoughts. So Gary, give your thoughts on the Lakers. Then Ben, Marissa, in that order, give your rebuttals, and then let's just keep this pushing because we still have to do the East. And I want to talk about the East a little bit because I have some thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my words on the Lakers brief because they're getting ready to play, so I don't want to jinx them or anything. So I'm just going to simply say they did exactly what they needed to do while facing being blown out in Game 5. They went home and said, okay, we know that the Warriors, we're going to get their best shot. We have to snuff it out, and they did exactly that. And as we've said, many times thus far, if this Laker team, as currently constructed, this was the team they had when they started the season, then this wouldn't be a surprise. This wouldn't be a shock because they'd probably be a higher seed making the conference finals. They'd probably be where Sacramento was as a 3 seed, if we're being honest. I think as far as the Warriors go, this is going to be an interesting offseason as far as what they do, as far as what they do with Draymond Green, and so on and so forth. I know we're going to keep talking about it later, but the Lakers have set – the point is the Lakers have kind of set the Warriors into a hell of an unknown, and meanwhile we're kind of playing with house money at this point because nobody really expected us to get this far. So
all good. Hey, all good facts. Marissa, thoughts on the Lakers?
I said it on my show earlier today. I did not expect this team to make it to the Western Conference Finals. Did not at all. Did not pick them. This is a rejuvenated Lakers team that I'm truly impressed with, even though right now Denver's being Denver, which is very hard to be a Denver Nuggets team at home. LeBron's playing out of his mind at 38. Anthony Davis Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves. I gave him so much praise on my show earlier because he's one of those guys that, yes, if the Lakers don't do anything to keep him on the team, somebody is going to pay him some serious money to put them on their team. Somebody said that he's the next Alex Caruso, and I said absolutely not. I believe he's better than Alex Caruso.
I mean, that's facts. Alex Caruso, can we just say, Ben, that Alex Caruso was a point guard, and he's taller, he's stronger, and I think that he's only going to get better. Like, I'm excited for his growth. But go ahead, Ben. Thoughts on Lakers, and then let's get to then Ben, take it to the East, and then Marissa after him, and let's keep this thing going.
Yeah, so I'll be brief on the Lakers. LeBron in Game 6 was move out of the way, give me the ball. We ain't going back for Game 7.
Yeah,
He can't do that every game. He's 38 years old. As great as he is, he cannot do that every game. And anyone who expects that, you're just you don't know anything, to be frank. He can't do that every game at this age. But Friday night, he said, "Give me the ball, guys. I'm leading you guys."
I mean, that's facts.
For Golden State to go back to Game 7.
yeah.
He wasn't going to let it happen.
I forgot to mention one thing. If he does go to the NBA Finals and they end up winning the chip, he would be the oldest player since Robert Parrish did it in 1996. Robert Parrish was 43 years old.
Wow. Well,
Okay.
look at that.
Good facts. Love
But
it.
Jeff,
see
you want to
everyone?
head to the East? I got some stuff, man. I got some stuff.
Yeah, you got some stuff. Take it away, buddy. I know you was wicked excited. So take it away. I'm gonna give you. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do, guy. Because I know you want to mention Boston. We're gonna bring back our Boston roots here a little bit, right? Go ahead. You got 3 minutes for you got your 3 minets, and then Marissa, you got your 3 minutes. Take it away. Let's go.
Let's
guys.
go.
All right. So I am going to focus on Joe Mazzulla, who we at first, and I got plenty of stats on Harden that's going to probably blow your guys' mind more than what you guys already know. But give a little bit of credit to Joe Mazzulla. Finally made some adjustments. He put Robert Williams and Al Horford in the starting lineup, the two big lineup. And towards the end of that series, he actually started using his timeouts instead of, as Kendrick Perkins was saying, taking them to dinner with him after the game.
Mm-hmm.
So he started using his timeouts, and he made the lineup adjustments. And, okay, I'm the numbers man. I got numbers. I got to do it. So Game 7 only right now, Harden and Embiid combined for 24 points, 8 for 29 on field goals, which Tatum and Brown combined for 76 on 26 for 47. I wrote down the field goal attempts because you cannot, in Game 7, have your two best players only attempt 29 shots. That is horrible. The fact that Embiid and Harden only put up 29 shots is just insane. But speaking of Harden, let's go a little bit further because he's a superstar. You get criticism. So
real quick.
Yeah.
Just real quick. Did you mention about the fact that Embiid had the lowest negative point differential points per game from regular season to postseason?
I did not.
Did you have that? He averaged 33.3. He averaged, I think, 32.3 3 points per game. And then in this series, and then the playoffs, he averaged about 23.4 points per game. He had the lowest negative point differential among an MVP in the playoffs in the last 45 years.
That's embarrassing.
That's insanity.
That is embarrassing. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to mention that fact because I wanted to provide some context. But go ahead.
Yeah, and Embiid deserves criticism too. So let's go to Harden. The last 2 years, the last 2 elimination games, he has 20 points, only 20 shots. So 20 shots in 2 games when your season is on the line.
That's what you traded for.
Yep.
Okay, it got more. We got more. Elimination games in his career. James Harden is 9-14.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, he started out pretty good. He was 8-5. He's lost 9 out of the last 10 elimination games. I got more. So combined between Game 6 and Game 7 this year, Harden in the 2 games, 2 closeout games, 2 elimination games, 22 points in the 2 games. That's like just insane. Like, that was your average for the regular season. It's the two most important games of the year, and you have a total of 22 points. Lastly, on Harden, before we talk about Knicks Heat, because I got much less numbers there, but I got a little bit of numbers. Last thing on Harden, in the 4 losses, you guys have all seen this stat. 4 losses of this series, 12 for 55 field goals, and even worse, 3 for 24 on threes. Okay, who's next? 76ers C's. Go for it.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because you remember as kids we watched Frosty the Snowman and how the snowman come to life. He had a hat, right? So when they placed that hat upon his head, he began to dance around. I was hoping and waiting for him, the bigger the beard got, that maybe some 3-point shots would convert somewhere, because nothing was happening. And those are phenomenal stats that you gave, and frightening and alarming stats all at the same time, Ben, that you gave. Because for Harden to throw a semi-fit, if you will, towards the end and announce he would want to shop free agency and threatening to leave if Doc Rivers was going to return to head coaching. Guys, we talked about it, and the understanding from day one to James Harden was whose team this was going to be. And it was not going to be James Harden's team. It's Embiid's team. And you are just going to be right there basically like a Scottie Pippen was to a Michael Jordan. You are Scottie Pippen, and Joel Embiid is Michael Jordan. And he knew his role. And so when things went right, you didn't hear a complaint from him. And when the shots weren't falling, the struggles were happening, then all of a sudden he wants to go and shop the market and get off the team. Riddle me that. I don't understand it. Go ahead, Jeff.
Now, and just real quick, and just because James Harden, believe it or not, is one of my favorite players. Like James Harden is one of my all-time favorite players. I'm just gonna say it. I like when he was at Houston. I like the way that he made things look so easy. He always did that double dribble. He would dribble a couple times at Houston, then step back, hit 3-pointer. Houston's one of my favorite cities as well, so maybe that's why I just like James Harden so much. But we're seeing the decline of James Harden. We're seeing it. He's not. There's
no denying
I think
it.
that sometimes I think that sometimes LeBron James has set such a high standard for players as far as being able to perform on the wrong side of 30 that we think that every player is going to be like him. And I think that for our viewers, we have to just set facts that not every player is going to be like that. You think about Larry Bird. His career ended before he hit 35, before he lost his step. You think about Isaiah Thomas at 32, right? There's a long history of players that have not been able to be. Kobe wasn't even this great at 38, and Kobe, I think, is one of the top 10 players of all time.
I just have to say on Larry Bird, him was specific to injuries, his back. But I just have to say that,
right?
Just for
that's all I'm saying. So, Marissa, I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish off with the East here, and then Ben, and then Gary will proceed with Doc Rivers. But I just think that we need, for everyone to understand that not everyone is going to be a LeBron James. Let's just say that now. And I think that for James Harden, he needs to understand that he can still be a value and still be a facilitator, but he's not going to be the James Harden of Houston. Right. It just ain't going to happen.
They're not going to go and they're not going to go and take their money and invest it and build a team around a soon-to-be 34-year-old player. They're not going to.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen, and he needs to accept that. If he wants to go and shop and try to, go to another team where he thinks he's going to get the, it's basically father time. He knows father time is not on his side, so he wants that chip. Chris Paul wants that chip. We talked about this on previous shows, guys, where we're seeing the ones that are over or near the age of 35 doing wherever they can, going wherever they can to go and get the ring and trying to be a contributor, but they don't want to be the ones off the bench. You see what I'm saying? So with him, he's got to pick where he's going to go at, and he's got to be that person that's going to have to step up. It isn't where he can go and point fingers. This coach was not making me great, or this person or that person, or we're missing a weapon here and everything else. Walk into the room, turn to the mirror, and look at the person, the first person you see, and blame them.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. And let's just finish up here because, Gary, I know that you probably want to say something about James Harden. I can feel it. And then Ben, finish it off. And then let's proceed to Doc Rivers. Unless there's anything else for the East. But Gary, finish. And then Ben, I'm sure you probably have some stuff for the East. And then Marissa, let me know if you have anything else you want to finish.
Last thing I want to say about the East, the next matchup, the Celtics and the Heat, I think it's going to go to distance. But if not, Heat in 6.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry, Gary. One thing I know that Ben has something for the Heat versus Knicks. I respect your pen. Let me just give it to him, and then I'll let you start with Doc Rivers because I know how much you want to talk about Doc Rivers. So Ben, go ahead, and then Gary, go on a little bit of the tangent about Doc Rivers. Say how you really feel, but Ben, finish.
All right, I'll go brief on Knicks Heat. 2 best players: Julius Randle, Jimmy Butler. This is not the specific series, just this year's playoffs, regular season versus playoffs. Julius Randle, regular season, 25 points per game, 10 rebounds per game. Jimmy Butler, regular season, 23 points per game, 6 rebounds per game. Playoffs, 16.6 points per game for Randle, 8 rebounds per game, 31 points per game, and 7 rebounds for Butler.
Bing bong.
That's the 2 best players, ladies and gentlemen. And then I have to just give a tiny bit of love for Jalen Brunson, specific to games 4 through 6. This is insane. The last 3 games of that series, his averages were LeBron numbers, legit. 37 points per game, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. The last 3 games of that series.
I mean,
those are legitimate LeBron numbers right there.
Gary, it's like with these Knicks, I know you're not a Knicks fan, but you live in New York. And, I feel like a New Yorker a little bit here. Let me stop. They should have traded or they should have. Look, here's what I'm going to say on the Knicks, Gary. Mm-hmm. The Knicks have a lot of good role players to where if they had 2 good superstars, they would win 65 games. They have a good cast of role players. They are a team of role players, not superstars. Mm-hmm. If they can get a superstar or 2, what they used to always say, Gary, give me 2 good superstars and then everyone else is good.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Well, go ahead, Gary.
They need a gunner. They need a 3-point specialist. They need a shooter. They need somebody because Jalen Brunson, yes, he's going to put up the numbers, but he needs to be running the point. RJ Barrett doesn't really, for a 3rd overall pick, doesn't really do it for me. Julius Randle, if he was a franchise player, he'd still be wearing purple and gold. And then you got the rest of that cast. That team is built for long-term success. That team looks like what the Knicks teams of the 90s looked like to an extent. But they need a shooter. They need a Bradley Beal. They need a Kyle Kuzma. They need somebody, the kid Anunoby out of Toronto or Van Vliet. They need somebody. There's nobody on that team that strikes fear into your heart from behind the 3-point line.
None.
Everybody can make a 3-point shot, but I'm like, hell, give me 10 tries, I can make an NBA 3. That's not you're not asking somebody to do too much there, but they don't have that. They don't even from the 2-guard spot, it's a shooting guard. They don't have a true shooting guard, and that's what's separating them from making a conference final and going further.
Yeah, but hey, I feel like I am that quarterback giving you the ball, I feel like I'm a Lions quarterback, Jared Goff, and giving you that wasted of a pick for a running back to carry the ball. Go ahead with Doc. Marissa, respect.
Why are we going there? Okay. All right.
You shouldn't have drafted a
running
back.
All right.
Shouldn't have drafted a running back. I'm not talking. Right. I'm just you really think they should have drafted a running back?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It's out of respect for you. That's all.
The rest. Listen, it took me a while to get rid of that, but then we're going to bring up old wounds, and I'm already salty about the, tonight's
Marissa,
episode.
Stop taking Gary shine. Gary, start with Doc.
I'm sorry.
Let's go.
Okay,
Marissa, pipe
Packers
down.
fan.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, Ben's a Packers fan all of a sudden. Gary's with a Joe Burrow jersey in the back, but I don't understand your identity. I'm concerned, sir. I'm concerned about your well-being. But anyway, Gary, take the rock. Awesome. Take the rock. Respectfully, guys, love all of you. Now, Doc Rivers, you got 3 minutes. I'm giving you 3 minutes on Doc Rivers. 3 minutes. You got it.
Speak your truth. Yes, go for it.
I mean, do I even need 3 minutes? Like, fun fact. Does everybody remember what my first Gary's Gripe was about?
Doc Rivers.
Literally everything go back in the archives. Everything that I said about Doc Rivers then would be what I'd say right now. All he's done is prove exactly my point. What the hell has he done since the NBA manufactured that championship for him in 2008? Mm-hmm. Yes, he had a decent run with Orlando. He won Coach of the Year, nearly getting Orlando to the playoffs. But here's the key in that. Orlando didn't make the damn playoffs. He gets to Boston. Boston was terrible. And then they get prime Kevin Garnett to go with prime Paul Pierce and prime Ray Allen and a bench that was ridiculous back then. Mm-hmm. You had Tony Allen and Sam Cassell and P.J. Brown. You had young Rondo. You had Kendrick Perkins. Like, that team, you better win a damn championship with that roster.
67-15 the regular season that year.
So, like, they did that. 2 years later, they get back to the finals and go 7 games with Lakers. He gets to the conference finals with LeBron against LeBron in 2012. And that has been it. He has been mediocre with the Clippers. He's now been mediocre with the Sixers. Like, I'm sorry. He's a good coach, but the way that everybody put him on this pedestal, y'all should be ashamed. I've been talking about this for years. Show me the series that Doc Rivers coaching won.
Gary,
don't worry.
Gary, I don't think you remember this, but you and I were in David Morrison's class. That was my freshman year.
Hell yeah.
And we were talking about Doc Rivers, and you sat next to me. I remember this very, very, very explicitly. You said, Doc Rivers better win a championship with this team. Otherwise, he's just kind of what? You said something 20 years from now, you and I are going to have a conversation about this. I don't think you remember the conversation, but we had that class in SCE 1001. So it's just bringing back memories, Marissa and Ben, of that time. That's how far back me and Gary Legend go back to 2007 at Johnson Wales University.
And that's how far back the mediocrity of Doc Rivers is.
Because they were 23-57 that year. They had Al Jefferson.
They won 24 games the year before.
That year. Yeah,
and
24 games.
They should have gotten the number 1 pick. They end up, and I'm sorry, Marissa, because it kind of falls back to this. They end up getting the 5th pick, but then they turn around and flip the 5th pick and get Ray Allen from that. Like, the league put it together. I don't care. Nobody says they're talking about their scripts in sports, but there totally is, because that was a scripted championship.
And don't forget, Flip Saunders and Danny Ainge were boys.
Yep.
Those are the 2 executives that made that trade for Garnett.
The stars aligned for him, and now it's been year after year after year of nothing. So what he's going to get another job because he's Doc Rivers. But I personally think, go do the Dwayne Casey route, remove yourself and go to the front, go be a front office guy for a little while, because your song and dance is getting old now.
It's already old. It's already past. It's like expired milk. It's already been done. I think that I agree with you. He needs to take a front office gig and just stay there. Pat Riley knew when to say when.
Thank you.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, but the difference is Pat Riley won a bunch of chips, and yes, his teams are.
And Pat Riley could be on the way to win another one. You see what I'm saying? No one's getting. Can I just say this real quick? And I don't mean to interrupt. We just
go ahead.
quietly, even though that there's a talent on the Miami Heat team, and I want to shed some light and give them their flowers on this squad. They're doing this run right now without Tyler Hero and without Victor Oladipo.
Yep.
You got Jimmy Butler, who's been playing out of his mind except for the one game that he was not in, and they end up losing. He comes back into the lineup, and it's an impact. They win the next several games. And what Eric Spoelstra and his coaching team has done, I don't think they get a lot of credit because he's not that flashy. He is
underrated coach in the NBA.
He is because he's not. He's
top 2 or top 3 coach.
Right. Because what is it, Ben? Because he's not one of those coaches. If he was
a rah guy,
he's not a rah guy. Right. He's not a rah guy, and he's not. If it was where the shoe was on the other foot, and he was dismissed from Miami Heat, and he was with that talent pool that's currently right now looking for a job, a head coaching job.
It's 9:42.
I promise
you
you,
have a job at 9:45.
You know,
like
that because he's not that person that has that name that that doesn't get often a lot of credit. He doesn't.
And real quick, do you guys think that Spoelstra should be the coach of the Miami Heat for life? Because I think he should.
From where he started from, yes. Because what he started, he started. I forgot what the position he started with. He literally worked his way up to the head coaching position because what was he, Gary?
He was a video coordinator. He started as a video coordinator on VHS. Kids look it up.
On VHS.
Kids look it up.
Yeah. So, guys, we got some other stuff that we really want to get to. I love the passion. I really want us to get to Durant and CP3 and Golden State.
Give me 30 seconds on Doc.
Yeah, 30 seconds. Let's go to that, and then I just want to start with this Durant CP3.
You guys all said eye tests, so I'll go numbers. You guys did a fantastic job.
There you go. Give the numbers.
Last 10 playoff seasons, 49-51. That's his record. I wanted to get a bigger sample size. I didn't do 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 49-51.
That's fucking terrible.
17-33 in series clinching opportunities, which is 34%. So 66% of the time he has a chance to win a series, he doesn't do it. And he's lost 9 straight games, conference semi games, to go to the conference finals. He's overrated.
And your last image of him is getting a 51-piece scored by Jason Tatum. I digress.
Facts. I mean, look, guys, we can talk about Doc Rivers forever. Doc Rivers. You guys say Doc Rivers is overrated. He's overrated. And
keep pivoting. Keep pivoting.
And his son coming out of Duke.
Was that a Boston?
His son coming out of Duke in 2015 was overrated too. There, I said it. I said what I said.
That was a bold post you put up on your. I was going to ask you why you think that he's overrated, Jeff. I'm curious. What's the main reason why you think he's overrated?
Because listen, okay, here's what I'm going to say. Okay, he was overrated before he even got to Boston. Okay, he fell into a great team with Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. And already a team already established. You didn't need to coach it. You didn't need to. They went 67-15. The big three all played at least 70 games that season. They all averaged at least 20 points per game. Their bench had the highest point differential in the league that year. I mean, they led every major defensive, offensive defensive deficiency category. They were clearly the best team that year. And also the league was down. Like the Eastern Conference, you got to remember, is not the Eastern Conference of now. The Eastern Conference then was terrible.
Agreed.
It was very easy. You didn't play as many Western Conference teams that year, during those times. So like 70% of their games were against the Eastern Conference. So to me, I'm like, all he had to do was just show up.
And you want to know why he's overrated is because everybody likes him.
Yes.
So basically, he's a name. So basically, he's a name brand that can get any
player's coach.
Yes.
People like him. The media, other coaches, his players. That's why he's so up here.
I'm going to say this. I make all of my views on coaches based on numbers, not off of feeling. And the numbers do not lie about Doc Rivers. And Ben, I didn't even look up the numbers on Doc Rivers because I knew Ben was going to come with it. The numbers just don't lie. He's horrifically overrated. He needs to do a front office job, and I would never hire him as a coach ever again. When you have that team with the Clippers, the fact that you could not make it to a finals with that type of team, are you kidding me? Blake Griffin in his prime, DeAndre Jordan in his prime.
Chris what Gary said.
Yeah, Chris Paul in his prime.
He didn't make a conference finals since
a conference
2012.
finals. Like, are you kidding me? With that team, like,
he's had some stacks.
I've been going forever. So
I just want to hear your thoughts about that.
Well, let's go KD CP3.
Yeah, let's keep going. So Marissa, my sister, the DTS queen. You are the DTS queen now. We're gonna give you a crown. Well, I've crowneth thee on this show here. But anyway, Durant and CP3. I'm very passionate about this again. Say what?
What's with these accents today?
Because it's funny. It's funny. Like, Boston, New Yorker. I don't know.
Gary's like, add that to your gripes, Gary.
I'll just confuse. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, now, damn, Denver's up 72-54 at halftime. But anyway, we'll leave that alone. Okay, but Durant and CP3, all I'm going to say is, Gary, I know you're going to talk about CP3. We're going to talk about the injuries. I think it's very, very, very clear that he always finds the injuries at the wrong time. Durant, listen, if he never wins another championship again, will it knock his legacy? Yes, but Golden State would not have won those other two championships without him. And he clearly was the best team on those He was the Finals MVP on both those championships.
No, I got to hear why. What's your thoughts, Gary? Before I go, because I got it. I got to hear.
And then Marissa give a bottle, then Ben.
I don't think those Cleveland teams were as good as we give them credit for. I think Cleveland may have won one of those two that after the 16 championship, but I don't think that they would have gotten. I just don't think that one of those teams would have gotten both of them. I think that the Warriors team, that we have to remember, won 67 games in a championship without Kevin Durant, and then won a championship again without Kevin Durant years later. Like, that team was going to win another. That team was going to win at least one more title with or without Kevin Durant. Hold on, and the fact that they just kind of broke basketball for a few years.
And I don't want to. And Marissa, I'm going to come to you, and then Gary and Ben, I'm going to come to you. I'm just respectfully. All I'm going to say is that championship, this last year, they easily could have lost. They really could have. If it wasn't for a couple turnovers, I went to the finals. I was at that game that they could have lost very, very, very easily in San Francisco. They easily could have lost if it wasn't for a late surge in I think it was game 3 and game 5. They easily could have lost. So I respect your opinion as my brother from another mother, Gary, your family, but Kevin Durant was the reason why they won those two championships. I'm sorry, but Marissa and then Ben, and let's just keep this thing going. And then Gary, give your rebuttal at the end.
Wow.
Go ahead, Marissa.
Gary, I respect that. I really do.
Yeah, I do. I really do.
I side with Jeff on this one. As far as Kevin Durant's concerned, in his legacy and everything else, and I agree wholeheartedly. If he doesn't win another title again, I mean, there's going to be things that is looked upon of. One, obviously, the run that he had with Golden State, winning the 2 rings there. And then the flip side of the coin is, after he left Golden State, what has he done since then? The injuries, the Twitter battles with, I can't remember off the top of my head right now, that's going to be remembered, all the fake accounts that he did, the Achilles injury, the fake accounts that he set up, having a good fun with the media and that sort of thing. Taking a long time to heal from his injuries and everything else. This run did this with the Phoenix Suns. And if he's going to stay with the Phoenix Suns, literally he's become the weary traveler of the NBA, going from team to team to team. What's left in the tank? That's my question. What's left in the tank for Kevin Durant? Where can he go and contribute to that's going to be a guaranteed that I'm here, I'm ready, I'm fully invested. Gentlemen, we're going to go and win a ring. We're all going to rally together and win this ring. I don't buy that yet. I don't think I buy that at all. If he stays with the Suns, great. If he doesn't stay with the Suns, who's going to invest in him? And is he going to truly be invested in the next team to guarantee another championship? I don't think so.
No one. All I'm going to say is, and then we'll go to Ben. No one knows. No athlete is ever going to have the perfect story.
No,
that's all I'm going to say. There's going to be no one. Like, I think that we just have such a high expectation of athletes. The reality is that Kevin Durant could never win another championship because he won 2 Finals MVPs with Steph Curry on the team. Steph Curry didn't win a Finals MVP until his 4th championship, mind you. It was Andre Iguodala, the first one, and then Kevin Durant, the 2, and then Steph Curry. So, yes, we could say that he left Steph Curry for Kyrie, but if he had 1 foot behind the 3-point line against Milwaukee, they probably could have won the championship. So he's been the best player on all of his teams. He's he's a 2-time NBA champion and 2-time Finals MVP. That's all I'm going to say. That's all he's got to do. But Ben, and then Gary, you can finish off, and then let's get to Golden State Dynasty. I feel that might be the topic, but I really also want to get to LeBron and Gary's gripe. So Ben, real quick, give your thoughts, and then Gary finish off. Then let's go to Golden State.
On Kevin Durant, I actually just was like, okay, KD and LeBron were the 2 best players in the league for probably 5 to 10 years, however, probably a 10-year period. Either way, I just compared those 2 in elimination games. I didn't even start researching it that way, but that's where I ended up. So Kevin Durant in elimination games has a 6-9 record. LeBron is 14-11. The stats are actually pretty favored towards LeBron. So go quick. 30 points per game for KD, 33.5 for LeBron. Rebounds per game, 8 for KD, 11 LeBron. Assists, we know he's going to have them in assists, 7.5 to 3.5. So there is, not that any of us would argue it, but there is zero argument at all that KD was really ever better than LeBron. Second best is not bad, but it was never really, besides the last few years, I guess you can say, when LeBron got older. But for the most part, Durant was never better than LeBron in their primes. That's it. That's all I got.
Oh, wow. Okay, you're actually done with something. Wow. Okay, awesome. Mr. Packers fan. Let it be known that Ben Holloway is a Cowboys fan wearing a Green Bay jersey. I just
Hey man, wife's aunt's in Green Bay, you gotta rotate the shirts, you confuse people,
Okay, guy. But anyway, so let's just get to Golden State real quick. So
let's do it.
I was really, really, really passionate about this because I want to talk from the business side and whether I think Golden State is dynasty's done. I leave all the stats for the gameplay for Ben, but I'm a businessman. I'm a big analytics guy. And from the business side, so you guys knew that the new CBA came about, right? This for next season, and they were able to sign a guy named Dante DiVincenzo, who had been a great signing due to a $6.5 million taxpayer exception, right? They did the same thing for Otto Porter last year, 6'8", big guy with a 7-foot wingspan, which I think was very, very big for them. Mm-hmm. So currently, under the new CBA rules, the Warriors might not be able to access that mid-level exception in future seasons, which has allowed them to be able to sign players at a lower rate typically. So the new luxury tax apron or threshold is $17.5 million. And when a team breaches that, the threshold, they will lose that mid-level exception. So they already have salary tied in Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, Jordan Poole, and Green, assuming he opts out of his $27.6 million deal for next season. So got to give credit to Per Spot Track. GS are more than $39 million over the $150 million luxury tax line this season. Next season, with Poole and Wiggins extensions kicking in at around $49 million, they're going to be over the $162 million threshold next season. So they're already $49 million, and then they still have to extend Draymond Green. So they have been able to get away by being able to manipulate their tax hold exception by being able to sign guys like Otto Porter, Gary Payton, Jordan Poole at these very, very, very low deals because these guys either have been bought out or they've been traded or they became to the G League. So the reason why I say that is the dynasty over? If the new CBA agreement didn't come in, Marissa, I would say no. But Bob Myers is going to have to really, really, really work to be able to make these contracts work. So
Speaking
based
of
on
Bob
that,
Myers, he's not even guaranteed to be there.
Even come back.
Exactly.
So
in
Marissa,
June, his contract expires.
Exactly.
So Marissa, with those numbers, is the dynasty over?
The dynasty is on pause. It's not over. Draymond Green went on the record and said that he will retire, and his desire is to retire as a Warrior. Does not want to go on any team. Steph has made the same. Clay has made the same. Those three have dedicated their entire careers to one team. That is phenomenal. The thing on the flip side of that is, what do they have at 33, and 34, soon to be 35 years old, do they have left to invest into that team? We're seeing more and more where Klay Thompson's three-point shots are not the Klay Thompson three-point shots that we've seen in clutch games in the postseason. They have been spotty and inconsistent since coming back from, unfortunately, back-to-back season-ending. Go ahead. 2 years, season-ending injuries that he had. Literally, I just want to soon put Steph Curry into bubble wrap. God bless him. Like, he is playing like the wounded warrior that he is, but we're seeing his body, not as bad as Chris Paul, as I mentioned, but we're seeing him just take, his body and take the hits. Can still just shoot a three, but it's not as consistent as such. And then Draymond Green, he wants to continue on with the Warriors. So I say the dynasty is on pause. Steve Kerr made an interesting statement at the end of the game saying that this is not the team that would have won a championship. And surprisingly enough, the team actually agreed with him because there were key plays. There were certain games that they all did not show up in. I mean, we all watched the series. We were all texting each other about it. And the consistency that we have seen from I'll call them the Golden State Big Three, did not come through in the games, especially the series against the Lakers. But, I believe wholeheartedly, gentlemen, and I'm going on the record, I'm going on the limb to say this, I think the Warriors, with these three gentlemen that I said, have one more championship in them.
Okay.
One.
I respect that. That, and I will pause my thoughts on that. All I'm going to say is that they need stretch fours.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say. That's what they need. But Gary, and then Ben, because I know Ben, you got some stats. But Gary, real quick, 30 seconds, because I want to get to your gripes and I want to get to LeBron. Go ahead, real quick, and Ben, finish off, and let's get to LeBron because I really want to get to this one, and then your gripes, Gary.
Just speaking on the series itself of Golden State, them losing Game 6 really shouldn't have been a shock. They won just 11 road games this season. The only three teams that had a worse road record: Detroit, Houston, and San Antonio.
Preach.
Okay.
That's why I love you, Gary.
They are lucky that they were so dominant at home that they had the third best home record in the NBA.
Pretty much. That's what bailed them out in their season.
Seriously. Like, this team is on, if I had to rate it 1 to 10 as far as like how close to the dynasty that is being over, I'd say it's a solid 7 right now.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that you made, Jeff, as far as like the tax situation and how this is going to affect contracts and how they, free agency going forward. And just the fact that, like, one of the things that Steve Kerr said was the fact that this team also had an issue with trust being broken. And by that, I mean Draymond Green trying to break Jordan Poole's face to start the season. Like, they haven't been right since. Mm-hmm. And this was a manifestation of all of that, truthfully.
Right. And Ben, here's what they're going to need to do. If they're really going to want to make something happen, they're going to have to The only way that I can, here's my two factors, Ben, and I want to get your Ben's impressions because I want to fit this in. I say the only way that they're going to be able to contend is by able to use Kuminga more and trade Jordan Poole because his contract extension kicks in at $32 million.
Mm-hmm.
Get that off your squad because when you already have Steph, Klay Thompson, Draymond, and Andrew Wiggins. That is not a bad starting four. But then to use that $32 million that's going to kick in for Jordan Poole, trade him, get that off your books, and then use that to be able to get the mid-level exception, and then get DeAndre, and then to get Green to be able to sign a cap-friendly deal that will allow them to be able to get 3 stretch fours that can really spread the floor. If they can do that, they can win for a championship. Ben's impressions, then your thoughts in general.
So there's just too many moving parts to give a definitive answer. Is Bob Myers going to be the GM?
Mm-hmm.
Is Jordan Poole going to be on the team? Because are they going to be able to find a trade partner at that contract?
Mm-hmm.
Will Draymond Green take a pay cut? Because he can say what he wants to say, but money talks.
Yep.
So another team says, hey, we'll give you $20 million more. He might go take that $20 million because he already got the 4 rings. So does Draymond Green stay? What are they going to do about Klay? Because they have to convince him to take a pay cut before he starts being overpaid. So does he want to take a pay cut too? Or pretty much they're going to have him for another year. Then he's going to be a free agent and he'll have to either take a pay cut or not. There's too many moving parts. And Bob Myers, I think sometimes we downplay in sports the impact an executive can make. By the way, look at our Lakers. Pelinka did a horrible job to get the team he had at the beginning of the season. But the midseason trades, obviously, we know what they did. So an executive can make a big difference. So if Bob Myers is not there, like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of moving parts with Golden State. So I cannot give a definitive answer, to be honest. I'm just being honest.
Okay. I mean, look, guys, like that's all fair. I think it's going to be very, very exciting. I think that we guys need to do a free agent special at some point. But any other thoughts? Let's get to LeBron, like 30 seconds apiece, and then Gary, give your gripes. Any other thoughts on Golden State? Anyone? No?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great. Awesome. So, Marissa, I feel like you have a little bit of a passion. Something's telling me to go to you first about LeBron. Something's telling me, and Gary and Ben, I go to you because you last because you always have the numbers. So pardon me if I put you last sometimes because you always have the finishing little touch on the paint, the little outline, the little dots. So let's get to this. Let's keep this under an hour and 15. But LeBron, they're losing by 18 right now in the first game as we're speaking.
I told you if they're gonna get one in Denver, it's gonna be game 2.
I'm not worried about it.
That's what it was gonna be. They weren't getting game 1.
I promise we're gonna get to all you guys. So Marissa, what does another ring mean for LeBron? And then Gary, then Ben, and I'll get to all of you guys. What does another ring mean for LeBron?
To me, it is looked at as a 38-year-old man went out there and did his job as a starter, not coming off the bench, because we just discussed about the fact that over the age of 30, Father Time is not kind to many of these players. Either they're still consistently, very rare, we see inconsistency of an NBA player still playing on a high level versus when they were drafted at 20, 21, 22, or how young it is that they're going to skip high school and come straight to the NBA draft, or they're an international player that comes over here to the United States and play. He's playing at a high level at 38. A ring to me would cement him up there at GOAT status, even though that we hear them that LeBron is the GOAT, LeBron is the GOAT, LeBron is the GOAT. But all of us right here on this screen have been watching basketball for a very long time. We've been blessed to see the GOATs play before MJ. What these young kids call the GOAT. They weren't around when they saw MJ. I was around. I'm older than you three, and I was around when I saw Magic and Bird and Kareem and all of those guys that came before that, and Worthy and all of them I was there when the Pistons made their back-to-back run, the Bad Boys era. So I think this would put him in the conversation of comfortably with Michael Jordan status. Is he a Michael Jordan? No. But Michael Jordan at 38 didn't go and win a ring. What was he at 38? He was with the Wizards at the time, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he wasn't with.
We don't talk about that.
I mean, he made a pit stop to a team. I mean, he shouldn't have done that, and unfortunately, that's the wrong side of history. But a championship at 38 years old would be massive. It would be, and playing at a high level, no one can say anything definitively wrong about what this man has done. Even if he doesn't win a ring, his legacy, I believe, is intact, and people need to put some respect on it.
Okay. I respect that. I mean, hey, Marissa, you asked a question about Andrew Wiggins. I know it's off, but Andrew Wiggins' contract extension kicks in as well, so he ain't gonna go nowhere. But Gary, and then Ben. What does another ring? 30 seconds each of you, and then I'll give my final thoughts, and then Gary, give your gripes.
Say it, Gary. Come on.
First of all, Michael Jordan did not play for the Wizards. That was not a thing that happened. No, Michael Jordan played for the Wizards exactly like that Sinbad movie Shazam. Like it happened. Yeah. So, okay. Let's answer the question at hand. What does another ring for LeBron mean? Here's Jordan. Here's LeBron, as currently constituted. LeBron was another ring. That's about it.
Yep.
Ben?
Yeah,
agreed.
I agree. And it would be, to me, if he were to win, greatest accomplishment of his career. On February 15th, which is almost exactly 3 months, they were in 13th place out of 15 teams. February 15th to now be in the Western Conference Finals. And they started out, we know their roster was different, but they started out 2-10, 13th place at the trade deadline or even after the trade deadline, to then go and win, to get a 5th title, to tie Kobe with 5 titles. And let's be honest, what the NBA wants, I'm not a conspiracy guy, so I'm not going to say it's going to happen.
You are.
NBA wants Celtics Lakers to win. Lakers would pass them for most titles, and LeBron would equal Kobe. Mm-hmm. So that's what the NBA wants.
They're going to get it.
That's what they want.
They're going to get it. They're going to get it. Vegas is the Illuminati of sports, and I think that the Lakers are going to find a way to win this series, because I think that the NBA is rigged. And I said that ever since a certain individual got elected to office, I would not say their name, but I am not surprised by anything. That's all I'm going to say. The Lakers are going to win this series against Denver. Whether it's 7 games, it's going to happen. I'm going to say it. And the Lakers and Celtics are going to meet in the playoffs. It's going to be Game 7, and the Lakers are going to win by 6 points, and it's going to go to overtime. Now, this is going to age very well because I think that there's conspiracy theories.
All right. Okay.
I'm saying it now.
That's as crazy as the Villanova coach being the coach of the 6. Okay. All right.
I'm telling you. Look, I don't like to get to conspiracy theories and all that crap, but listen, the NBA is rigged. I don't care what anyone else says. There's someone moving, there's something going on. There's something. I don't know what it is, but the Lakers are going to win the championship, and it's going to go to Game 7. Jason Tatum's going to have a great game. LeBron's going to have a great game, and they're going to win in overtime in Game 7 in Boston, and they're going to celebrate a championship in Boston. I am saying it, and if I'm wrong, sue me, whatever. But that's all I'm going to say. But all I'm going to say is, and I'm going to finish, a championship don't mean nothing for LeBron. No, it will mean something because he has been the key contributor for multiple championships on 2 different teams. Miami and then LA. Guys, help me all you want. I'm just saying. I just have a feeling. I could be wrong. Whatever. We're not getting paid for this crap. Not yet, at least. But
to the networks.
Not yet. Anyway, not yet. And if I get this right, and this actually happens, at 7:11 PST, I'm going to say, I told y'all. It's rigged if it actually happens. But anyway, Gary, take it away to your gripes, and let's complete this episode.
Ja Morant.
Take it away.
There's an old saying, I know it's in Texas, and I think it's in Tennessee too. What's the saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, can't get fooled again. Like, there's a part of me that is like, what the hell? Why? You literally, like a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, got in trouble for having a gun someplace you ain't supposed to have a gun, and it was on camera. You came out with some bullshit excuse and apology. You said you didn't have a problem. You were just dealing with stress and it was a mental health issue, whatever. And we all moved on. Like, all right, he's going to be okay. And then you do it again. I'm not going to sit here and say what Kwame Brown said, calling you the dumbest MF in the league. Like, but you're pretty close. You're actually pretty close. Like, first of all, you have terrible friends. My friends know.
I was just going to say, his friends are the ononly reason anybody knows about it.
If I'm in any type of compromising, you don't take your camera out at that point. I mean, admittedly, I thank God social media wasn't a thing with me growing up, because then I don't know where I'd be at this point. But yeah, like his friends, his parents, his inner circle, they are enabling poor behavior. And if you ask me, I don't see a way or a reason why Ja Morant plays basketball in 2023-24. Whether that's a full-year suspension from the NBA, whatever the case is, the last thing that he needs to do is play basketball. He needs to address whatever the hell is going on, you know, as somebody that is a mental health advocate and somebody that believes, like, you know, we all as Black males should be able to have the ability to express ourselves and have a safe space to express our feelings and opinions and thoughts and all that. There's a part of me that worries that he's using that as a crutch just to allow this deviant behavior to happen without a lot of ramifications, and I'm afraid for him. You have potentially $1 billion on the line between endorsement deals and this NBA money, which just seems to be growing exponentially. Like, there's so much that you've put out there, that you've put on the line because of your actions, and I'm just like, I hate sound like the old man on the stoop, but I'm like, there's something the hell wrong with this generation. It's like, you have the world at your fingertips, but yet you choose to make poor decisions, and you don't seem to have anybody in your corner here to steer you in the right direction. And I just pray to God that this does not end the way that mentally right now I think it's going to end.
You know, Gary, you make some very good points, and it makes me concerned about the future of the NBA. It makes me concerned about. I mean, there's a lot there. He's already lost $39 million in the Nike deal that's already been canceled. And you could say, oh, only $39 million, but $39 million to a guy whose contract extension hasn't. Let's also put this perspective into numbers. His mega contract hasn't even kicked in yet. So he's already only his rookie deal. So his rookie deal was worth maybe what, $35 million? And he's already missed games because of that. So you wonder so now
Jeff,
he's going to already miss the.
Go ahead.
All I'm just going to say is, and then I'll throw it to you, Ben, and then Mercy, you can finish. He's already lost $39 million in the Nike deal. And then if he gets suspended this whole season, he's going to miss out on about $45 million there. Mm-hmm. So you're already looking at potentially $75 million plus the other, I think, $3 to $9.5 million of checks that he's already missed. So all of his messes already cost him $80 million in lost wages. $80 million is a lot of money. I don't care if you're an NBA player or not. That's all I'm going to say. But Ben and then Marissa will finish off.
I was just going to say, to your point that mega extension hasn't kicked in yet, you don't think the Grizzlies are sitting there trying to find a way where they don't have to pay him that full amount?
Low market team, mind you. Low market team.
Like, he ain't getting that full contract no matter what. Grizzlies are finding a way to. There's no way.
There's called a morality clause that can where they can opt out of a contract and make it not void. And I think that after 2 instances, it can do that. But Marisha, your final thoughts, and we'll finish up.
My final thoughts is I'm really hoping that he seriously turns it around by his actions, not his words. We already been fed a line when he sat down with Lisa Salters and got the exclusive interview where his words coming out of his mouth. Majority of social media and people went after Shannon Sharpe when he talked about it Undisputed about he wanted the actions to be more than just the words alone, and he wasn't buying what he was selling. And majority of the people was trashing Shannon Sharpe on social media about that he was going after John Morant, that he was being a bully, that he didn't believe in him and everything else. Those same exact people that were sitting there saying, let Ja be Ja and everything's going to work out fine and all that. The concern that I have is not one person in that truck or anywhere around him thought maybe, just maybe, it was not a good idea for him to go on social media, let alone be around them, because they've made their decision. They're the ones that want to hang out on the street and they want to do what they do and go to, strip clubs and all that stuff. One of them should have looked at him and said, Ja, you cut from a different cloth. You have your whole NBA career and everything that you worked hard from Murray State to get to this point where many men do not even have a chance to step on an NBA court and showcase their talent. You are put into a broad spectrum and this spotlight is big on you. You don't belong here. Go, practice, go, if you're feeling frustrated, go practice, go shoot some threes, go do all of that. I'm just concerned about the fact that no one is truly in his corner, because if, as you stated, Jeff, all that money went away and he never got to play in the NBA again and his money all dried up, I promise you those same exact friends would leave. Because he's not a household name. They're not mooching off of him. They're not doing the videos with him. They're not doing the TikToks and the Instagrams from him. They're not doing all that stuff because he's no longer a household name. He's now considered, which we see so much often, gentlemen, in the NFL, is a bust. We'll see that happen to him if he stays on this path. And nobody's going to be there to support him. He's going to be a has-been instead of should have been and what could have been of his talent.
Exactly. That's all. Gary, I feel you have one more thing to say, and then we're going to finish up here.
No, just, Marissa made the good points. Like, when you have your friends, the company that you keep, like, how did nobody in that car say, hey, Ja, maybe we shouldn't have the gun out? Or, I don't know, of your friends, why are they recording? Like,
well, the guy that recorded it was the dude that is suspended from FedEx Forum because he was fighting people with the Pacers.
That's somebody got to go. He's
like
Devontae
Pack, yeah.
The other problem is he's trying to portray himself as a gangster.
Wait,
you're not.
You're not
one.
Gary, you're from the suburbs.
Yeah,
I knew that's what you were trying to say, Gary.
Get out of here. We're from the suburbs.
Yeah.
You're one.
But
you are me. You're one of me, son. No.
And we hope that he can get it together. We'll see what happens, but if he doesn't, I don't feel bad for him. That's all I'm gonna say. We all sitting here trying to make our own money and trying to thrive, and this guy literally has to play. Like, the guy missed 43 games the season prior and still got paid to put a ball in a hoop. And everyone out here is still struggling trying to make ends meet.
I mean, literally could pay all of our rents and cars and then some, and we would all have change left over. Exactly.
But guys, it was a great episode, and we try to keep it an hour, but hey, sometimes it is what it is. Pre-show, you guys. Look forward to getting back to next week. We'll get back to episode 84 as we're approaching. So to all of our listeners, all of our fans, we thank you for all the support. Until next time, guys, hail Von Miller and hail the Denver Broncos. And right, that's for you, Gary. And y'all take care now.
6-11.
Bye.